everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to use this opportunity to thank every subscriber, both old and new subscriber. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming back to watch my video. I appreciate it a lot and I don't joke with it. So today we're going to be looking at the monostrap dress. One of the subscriber asked us that if you want to replace an illusion net with a cutout area, so how do you go about it? So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to be using this illusion net with this lace material to do that. If you have not watched the cutting of the dress, guys, I will ask you to go and watch it. I will drop it in the comment section below. I use the freehand cutting method on that video. For this tutorial, I'm going to use the pattern drafting so that for the beginners to easily understand how to go about it. But if it's a freehand cutting, I know what to do. I know how to go about it, but it might be a little bit confusing for some of us. So I'm going to use paper to get up to the point where we're going to replace the illusion net. So guys, if it's something you're going to be interested in, then let's get started, guys. So guys, this is what I've done so far. I cut out my pattern paper using the shoulder princess cut I did on my tutorial for the monostrap dress. So that's what I've done so far. I cut it out, then I use the pattern paper to cut out for my fabric. As you can see, I iron in some interfacing to the underlining. As you can see, then I sewn it together. Now this is the front. So the next thing I did too was for the back. I did the same thing to the back, and I did the same thing to the lining. Iron some interfacing. Actually use the paper gum. You can use stay just like I used to say. So that's what I've done so far to the fabric. So the next thing for us to do, just like I said, is for us to mark on our paper for the beginner so that you don't make the mistake on your fabric. For a freehand cutter, and I'm a little bit advanced, I know what to do on my freehand if I want to do that. But for this pattern paper, it's going to help us a lot. So the next thing we're going to do is to mark the cutouts. So after the cutout, we're going to place it on our nets. Then I'll sew on our fabric. But I'm going to show you guys all the process. So the next thing for us now is to do the cutout. It depends on where you want your cutout to be. It can be on the left, it can be on the right. So I'm going to use the right hand side. So if you want the right hand side, you just use the back of your pattern. So we're going to do the cutout now. So I'm going to measure from the shoulder 5 inches down. You can use 6 inches. In my previous tutorial, I used 6 inches. And for the neckline depth, measure from the center after the 3 inches by 3 inches average neckline. Then from that point, measure 1.5 inches down and mark it round. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Okay, until you get to that point, then you measure around the other side. 1.5, 1.5. Okay, now for the cleavage depth, depends on what you want. You can make it 4, you can make it 5, but I think this time around making it 4. I made it 5 on the other tutorial, so I'm gonna connect it to this 5, making it like a sweetheart. Okay guys, then towards the other side, I'll measure 5 inches down. Then in between the center front and the princess cut, I'm going to divide it, which is 4. I'm going to divide it into 2. So I'm going to stop in between that point to create my sweetheart again. So as you can see, okay, now you shape your neckline. Okay guys, then from this point you can now curve as you wish to do our cutout. I hope you guys are seeing it. Let me shade it very well so that you guys can see what I've done so far. So from this point, I'm going to take it towards the armhole. Okay. So this is the cutout I'm going to do for the front of our dress or our top, depending on what you are doing with it. Okay guys, you can take it even deeper if you wish. depending on what you want, guys. This time around we're using it to cut an illusion, so you're still going to attach it to it. Okay, let's do the cutouts. Before I do the cutout, I'm going to measure half inch in between it, half inch, so that by the time we place on our material, we will have removed the sewing allowance. So guys, let me do that first. Now this thing can be treated in two ways. You can do the cutout, then loose before you place on your fabric and before you sew it. So this is the space we need, but I added this half inch so that we use it as the sewing allowance. Then the next thing you are going to do is to mark some points this way, so that you have the point of notching where you are going to place your notching. So when you want to sew them together, you will not have any challenge. So I'm going to cut it out now. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've done the cutout. Then this is what we're going to place on our illusion net to do the cutout, to attach the cutout back. But before then, let me cut on my back pattern. So as it is, you may decide to just leave the fabric for the back, or you attach an illusion at the back too, depending on what you want. So I'm going to now cut for the back. Make sure that the side align before you do your cutout. Okay, now for the back, I just want to get some points where the armhole is going to stop, so that we'll have them joined together. Now for the back, I can give any shape I want to, depending on what I want, but make sure that the front to front is facing each other before you cut. If not, you make mistake and place them wrongly. So make sure that they are placed properly before you do the cutout. So for the back, you can shape from this side and make it a square depending on what you want, because this time around we're attaching an illusion. But in this one, I will still do the same shape I did for my monostrap dress. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inch the same way. Then from that point, I'm just going to give it any shape I wish to. Okay. You can see this is the shape I want. The same thing, mark 1/2 inch out before you do the cutout. Okay guys, so I'm going to do the cutout for the back. Okay guys, as you can see, we have our cutout done. We can place on our fabric to do the cutout now. So you place pin and do the cutout. So guys, I'm going to cut it out now. We do the cutout, so you can see me. I've already added the 1/2 inch, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do after cutting, I will just notch. So guys, you notch. Notching is very, very important. So I'm notching all the points that I've marked. You don't notch beyond the 1/2 inch, guys, just little, to enable you recognize the points. Okay, I'm done with the front, so let's go for the back. So guys, make sure you pin before you do your cutout. Okay, the next thing, notching. So I'm going to place this aside, then we will now deal with our net illusion. For the nets, guys, there are two sides of the net. There's a stretchy part and there's the one that is not too stretchy. The one we're going to use is the one that is not too stretchy, as you can see, but this side is very stretchy. Guys, I'm going to now place it. You can use single if you really want it to be very light, or you can use it double depending on what you want. I'm going to use double. So guys, remember that we borrowed ½ inch from the two sides when we're cutting out for the main fabric. So this time around we're going to add 1 inch, ½ inch for the sewing allowance and ½ inch for what we borrowed, so making it 1 inch that we're going to add to the side we cut out. The same thing applies to the back. We're going to place it on it and add 1 inch to this. So guys, as you can see, I've marked out the 1 inch around the edges. If you're somebody who cannot manage to use chalk, use your needle and thread to mark it out so that you'll be able to get a good marking. So I've used my chalk little by little to trace it out. So I'm going to cut it out now and notch those points. The next thing, you look at the points and notch. Okay, now we're going to place on our fabric to go and sew. So guys, as you can see, you just look for the center, place it and pin it down. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. Look for the notches. You can see, I don't know if you can see the notches on the lace, see the notches on the net. So I'm going to place it, then pin around until you get to the armhole. So guys, this is how we're going to go around it, then turn it this way and keep sewing. You can place the paper to enable you get those points. So that's how we're going to do it. You pin, you join, then before you turn it around, keep turning around until you get to this edge. So I'm going to leave the paper, then go sew it together. So I'm going to do the same thing to the back. You can see. So this I'm going to do it. So I'm going to align it with the notches and sew it around, leaving the paper with it. So that will guide me when I'm sewing it. So guys, let me go do that on the machine. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same paper to cut the lining out. But before I sew the lining, I'm going to show you guys. So guys, as you can see, I've sewn the illusion neckline. You can see it. I still placed my paper on it. You can see that it's covering it so far. You can see it. So that is how it's going to be. So how did I handle it? I started from the center of the neckline, the center front. When I was getting to this corner, I needed to ease it in. If you can see it, then I finish it up this way before I turn this one on the other side of the machine, then to sew it. So I handled it this way first, then turn it this way on the machine to sew it. The next thing is to cut our lining. So the same thing I did to the back. You can still see it. You can see. Remember, we borrowed ½ inch. So this is the ½ inch that is left on the paper side. So that's what we have here. So we're going to use the lining now to turn it. So I'm going to cut the lining out from the pattern paper. So before you cut the lining out, be very careful. So the same thing, You see, if we could place it this way now, there will be a mistake. So we need to place it this other side, the front to the front. That's what we're going to do. Place the front side of the paper to the front side of the lining to be able to get the correct way to turn the lining with the neckline. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to place it this way. So guys, so we'll pin and cut it out. So just like I said, notching, the notch, 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 always help. The notching always help, always help. I'm going to do the same for the back. So guys, the next thing to do is to use your lining to turn the neckline. First, when you turn the neckline, before you turn the points of the cutting area, you now turn it this way, pin it round and sew it. Then the same thing to the front. You sew the neckline first before you turn it this way and handle this area. So at this junction of the corners, you just notch them to relax them. So the same thing to this other side, we turn the neckline, then you press. Pressing matters a lot, guys. So guys, as you can see, our illusion neckline has been finished. The back has been done. So as you can see, so what is left is to turn the zip side, or we interlock. Then we sew lining to lining to the front and the main fabric to main fabric. Then for the front, is not every area that your machine can get to. Like if you look at it, I use temporary stitches to hold it down. So by the time I finish, I'm now going to unstitch the lining to the main fabric at the neckline. So as you can see, just like I said, you finish the zip side, shoulder to shoulder, then lining to lining to sew the side, then you join to your dress. So guys, that is it for the illusion neckline. You can see how it blended with the dress form. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed, please press that red button and press the notification bell. Do not forget to share. I will see you in my next tutorial, guys. Bye for now.